Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for attending the class. I hope you are well and excited to be here to listen to today's session. My name is Betty, and I'm going to discuss about the global transformation in the oil and gas industry. So we know that many of oil and gas companies nowadays, they do not call themselves as oil and gas company. They call themselves as energy company. So I'm going to bring 3 examples of super major companies in the oil and gas industry who have expanded their business into renewable energy sector, which are Total Energies, British Petroleum, and Shell PLC. But later, we also will hear about the challenges that they face when they are expanding their business into renewable energy sector. When we talk about global transformation in the energy sector, we want to remember, we want to think about energy transition that is currently happening. We've been using fossil fuel as our main energy sources, which is bad for the climate. So the world is now looking into a cleaner and more sustainable energy sources, which is renewable energy. Energy sector plays significant role in combating the climate change. And last year in November, in Glasgow, there was a significant event called COP26. It's a major event where many governments from all over the world come together discussing about how to tackling the climate change. And energy sector has become one of the main agenda at COP26. So before I further explain about the discussion today, I'd like to invite you to go to www.menti.com and put your answer for the question that I put here in the presentation. According to you, what are the external strategic drivers of this global transformation in the oil and gas industry? Use the code 12345678 to put your answer there. Well, I can see that your answers here showing you really are aware about these issues, which is great. So now, when we think about this energy transition, what do we need to make it happen? Exactly, we need money. We need investment. So how much do you think the world has invested into this global energy transition? In fact, the investment money going for the global energy transition has been increasing since 2010. And last year in 2021, it reached 920 billion US dollar for this global energy transition. So this is the global money that went into energy transition movement. However, according to the International Energy Agency, this is not enough. The world needs to invest around 4 trillion US dollar annually for the next 10 years, from 2021 to 2030, if the world wants to keep on track to achieve the net zero emission by 2050. So 920 billion USD is not enough. Unfortunately, we need to work harder for investing to this global energy transition. So now we want to go back to the super major companies. How much do you think they actually invested to this renewable energy sector and to the low carbon technology development? Let's see here. Total actually aims to invest 6 billion every year for the next 10 years to become a major player in the energy transition. And BP, they want to invest for 5 billion annually for the next 2021 to 2030 for low carbon investment, which is renewable energy as well as the low carbon technology like carbon capture storage. And Shell PLC is 2 to 3 billion every year for their energy transition. However, this amount of money is not as significant money like the way they invested to oil and gas sector. It's less than a third of the money they invested to the oil and gas sector. So this is not significant enough for this super major to invest to renewable energy or low carbon technology if they want to pursue the energy transition. There are some challenges that they face when they're transitioning into renewable energy. So now I'd like to invite you to wear your capital investor hat think as if you are the owner of these oil and gas companies. What will you consider? What is your main consideration when you want to invest in a project? Exactly, you need profits. You want to look at the profits. So let's see here the difference between the oil and gas and renewables. You can go straight away to the IRR, internal rate of return, and the profitability and the investment risk and the cash flow. You can tell that renewables they don't give as high as oil and gas in terms of profits or IRR. Look, the oil and gas can provide you for 15% to 20%. And renewables is 5 to 6% according to TotalEnergies and Shell, 5 to 8% according to British Petroleum. It could be higher to 10% max if there are some certain conditions are met. And then you look at the risk. Both of them have risk associated to these projects. And in renewables, you have curtailment risk. It's because you cannot really sell your oversupply or your excess electricity to different regions because of the grid limitation. Remember, renewables is a local energy sources. It's not like oil and gas where you can actually transport them internationally by ship or by pipeline or by land transport. So it's really different. And then there's also high risk of failure in technology that could lead into revenue loss. For example, when the weather changes or the weather is bad, they might lose money or they might have this wind turbine damage because of the weather. So there are these kind of risks. And then the capital investment itself also very high. It's the same, oil and gas is also very high, but look at the return on investment of oil and gas. They have high risk, but high return as well. But renewables, they have high risk, but then unfortunately, it only gives low rate of return. So then Butler asked the question, how can the next offshore wind farm selling power into the hugely competitive electricity market be justified over the next oil field? The answer is no, it cannot. So this is what we need to consider when we think about strategic decision, investment decision. We need to think about the whole trend that is happening. Well, the energy sector now is moving into cleaner energy sector. However, as a company, you also want to think about your profitability, your sustainability of your companies as well. So this is something that I'd like you to reflect and to think about for the next session. So I think I will end our class here. So if you have any questions, just raise your hand or put in the chat box or comments or reflection, and we can discuss next week. And for next week, we're going to discuss more about the strategies of these companies. How do these strategies affect their overall portfolio? And then what are the strategic drivers of these three super majors investing in renewables, knowing that their profitability is incomparable with oil and gas? To prepare this, I'd like you to read from these two articles, Profiling the Risk in Solar and Wind and Fossilized Capital, Price and Profit in the Energy Transition. And then I'd like you to work in a group, choose one of oil and gas companies that has expanded its business into renewable energy company as a response to the global energy transition. Write a strategic analysis report on their portfolio and investment decision and make 7-minute presentation or video presentation if we cannot meet face-to-face. Thank you so much. I hope this is all enjoyable for you, and I'll speak to you next week. Bye-bye.